Hey guys, this is Jackson, and today I'm going to talk to you a bit about money. And I'm going to show you specifically how much money I make from all of my different income streams as a indie game developer. So things like Steam, things like the Fab Store, previously known as the Epic Game Store, and from my private stores that I've got as well, so my Gumroad store. And I'm going to talk a little bit about money and my opinions on how much I make and all that shit. But what you're probably here for is to see the numbers. So let's look at the Steam store page first. So I've got three games that are on Steam: Running Robot Man for Lost Temple Treasure and Eco Ronin, which is an early access. These games have done dismally. I've made not nothing. Well, I'll look at the numbers in just a second, or maybe I should just look at the numbers now. Let's just look at the numbers now. So, total revenue for those three games is about $600, and I don't think I get all of that. I think total revenue, that's before Steam takes their 30%. So you can figure out whatever that is. It's a few $100 basically, but say $600 times by 0.7. Of course it's 420. Oh my god, that's funny. That's a good omen. Believe it or not. But I think that is also US. So if I then multiply that by like, I don't know, like 0.15 or something, it's probably like $600 Australian. I don't know, something like that. I can't remember the conversion. 1.3 maybe. Anyway, that's the money that I've made from Steam. It's not nothing, but given how much time I spent on these games, it's low. Some of these are new. Lost Temple Treasure's only been up for a couple of months. Eco Ronin's only been up for a couple of months. And Running Robot Man has been up for almost a year, actually, at this point. But that was also in early access before that, and I probably got a couple of sales like early way back then. But yeah, it's I haven't done anything to market them. I spent a lot of time on them, but basically these three projects and some other projects that I'm planning to upload, I treated these as learning experiences. It was me expressing my creativity, and I was going to make these games whether or not they made any money. So it's always nice to get paid for the things that you create. But I didn't create any of these games sort of with like a desperate like attachment to how well that they did. I didn't have a marketing plan for any of them, and it doesn't really bother me that they haven't made that many sales. I think in the future I would like to explore some ways that I can deliver these or like distribute these games to other people, distribute them to players, and to do things like that. So that they make more sales and so I get more feedback from people playing them. But like one of the things that I feel like you learn as a game developer, especially indie game developer, is just how immense the number of things are that you need to do to launch a successful game. Like, making a game itself is a massive thing, and that it typically entails a lot of people, like for sound and programming and, for all the other shit that goes into it, the art, the different types of programming like network code and whatever. Like Running Robot Man is a multiplayer co-op game. It all takes a lot of time, and then you factor in the fact that you've got to make a Steam page, you've got to then get a community and make trailers and engage with that community and blah 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 blah. Like there's so much that goes into game development other than just making a game and like selling a game. But unfortunately for me, that's the sort of stuff that I'm not interested in. I'm interested in making a game basically, and I don't put as much time into the other things like marketing, and for that I don't get any sales. The algorithm doesn't deliver the game to people to play it. I've done the store page as best that I can. I've followed all of the recommendations that I could find on the internet for how to convey the game to people so that it's easy to understand like what it is, what to expect, and whatever. Nothing's perfect, but I've done a decent enough job, I think. But yeah, this is the result of what you get for not having a for not investing time into the marketing department. If you just make a game and then put it on Steam cold, you'd probably get a similar response to this, I'd imagine. Who knows? I don't know. But anyway, so when these sales occurred, I think this is the previous year. I think if I go to this one here, this might be their entire lifetime. Oh no, this is the most recent year. So yeah, I think what's that, like $40 in one day is sort of the peak. And that was around maybe like December the 19th. So I think I just released a couple of games, and I just released maybe Lost Temple Treasure and Eco Ronin around that time. And you can see every now and again we get about $12 revenue. So that's one sale. These are the units over here. So 2 sales, 1 sale. We get 4 sales on that day, a max of 7 sales on there, and yeah, so they're sort of intermittent like that. So yeah, that's Steam. The next thing that we're going to look at is my marketplace page. So this is now known as Fab, but this used to be the Epic Marketplace store, and on here I've got a few different projects. The most popular product is the Endless Random Worlds pack. This is a pack that I've sold for a couple of years now, where people can generate endless worlds that have the graphical fidelity of like Unreal Engine games, but using a similar, like Minecraft, and using a similar system to Minecraft, where it uses chunks. And so you design sub levels like this, and then basically the game streams chunks in and chunks out as the player moves. So that's the one that's done the best. I've got a few other ones on there that haven't done too badly. But anyway, you can be the judge of that. Let's look at the sales report. So if we go back to October last year, this is when Epic Games was merged with Fab. In the month of October, we can see we only made $160 US. If we go to the month of November, we've got almost $500 US. I think this might be before they take off their 12% or something. Yeah, so I think they'll subtract about 12% from that before they paid out. Let's see what we had for December. $200. Pretty dismal. I've had some better months than this in the Epic Marketplace. I think on the Epic Marketplace it was probably an average of about $500 a month. Sometimes with a lot more. Sometimes there was a few grand a month when I was more active on YouTube and things like that. So February here we've got 350. March we had nothing. Yeah, March this year we had nothing, which was quite unusual. Or maybe not that unusual. I don't know. Have we got any for April yet? No, we don't have any for April. Yeah, I felt like it was a little bit unusual to go from having. What did we have? We had like 200. I suppose it's not that many sales, is it? Somebody's bought 4 of those and 4 of those. Yeah, so I don't know. March was a weird one, but anyway. Epic Marketplace usually about 500. Well, previously it's been about 200 US a month, which is pretty dismal as well. Previously in the past it's been about 500 US a month, but occasionally there has been times when my channel has been really popular and it's generated lots of sales, and I've had a few days where it's been upwards of like 500 US a day, and those ones are the most rewarding days that sort of make it all worthwhile. They sort of give you a little glimmer of like what the potential is if you've got an active store and are generating lots of sales. So I do quite like Epic Marketplace. Yeah, like I've said, like I feel like my sales have dropped a little bit since Fab has come online. I think it's a little bit harder to get traffic with so much stuff on the store, and I think I've read stories from other people on Reddit, other sellers that are having similar issues where it feels like their stuff is just getting sort of buried. So I don't know, we'll see how that goes. One other thing I will say about Fab and the Epic Marketplace is the free for the month. I've had one asset on there for free for the month, which they paid me out like 11 grand Australian, which was about 7.5, I think US, 7,500 US. So that was great. But yeah, I mean, it's not bad for passive income, you know, like this is, what did we have? We had last year in November, we had like $500 US. that's for doing nothing. Like I said, like when this was on the the Epic Marketplace store, this was sort of typical. It was usually 400, 500 US, just ticking over every month. I didn't have to do anything. This is sort of just like the organic traffic from the marketplace itself, or just from like passive referral links from YouTube, where people might have been browsing my channel and then come across one of my videos and then decided to buy something from Fab. So, definitely better than nothing. It's not a full-time wage, that's for sure, but yeah. Anyway, so the last thing that we're going to look at today is Gumroad. So on Gumroad, I have basically the same stuff that I have on my Fab store. So we've got the Flying AI pack, the Enemy Waves pack, music layering, endless worlds, and I sell a few other things as well. I've got some old courses and things down here, which usually they sell occasionally, and some different packs and different pieces. But the most common one that I sell on this is definitely the Endless Random Worlds pack. This one isn't available on Epic Marketplace because on Epic Marketplace they don't allow you to sell products that require a third-party plugin. So I had to have my own store for this one because it uses a free plugin called the Fast Noise Generator. So this one's the most popular one, and this one makes all the money. Some of the other sales are nice, and usually what people do is when they buy something from this one, they get prompted with a option to upsell, which is nice. It's a nice part of the Gumroad thing, and so they go to usually buy the Endless World package, and then they get the Enemy Waves for half price, the Flying AI for half price, and just whatever else they're interested in. But anyway, let's look at the numbers. So this is all time, I believe. So this is a graph of my sales over the years. I wish we could go back to this one. That was a good time. April 2023. We made $2,000 that month. So that's pretty good. Adding that up with everything else, so $2,000 that month. Say if I get like 500 from Fab, that's like $2,500 a month, which is like, it's a bit over, what's 500, 600, let's see. So let's say we had $2,500 US a month, divided by 4. Yeah, we get about 600 a week, which, that's pretty good. And then I multiply that by like 1.5, whatever, to convert it to Australian. So yeah, that's a good month, man, for me. Like that's, if I made that every week, I'd be a very, very happy man. But yeah, like I've been doing this now since, December 2019. 0 views, we get some views. That was probably my first sale there. It looks like we got 4 sales in the 1 month. Made about $40. $150 in that month. That's pretty good. And then June 2022, we get $400, and then this big peak of $2,000 here. And then we sort of get these spikes. Usually, I think these probably coincide with when I've been posting stuff on the channel, and it drives a little bit more traffic. But yeah, it's sort of up and down. It's got an upward trajectory for the most part. We'll see how it goes in the future. You can pause and look at all of this stuff if that's interesting for you, I suppose. It looks like most of the things come from email, not so much from YouTube. Plenty of analytics there that I don't really spend that much time looking through, to be honest. But yeah, so all up over all time, it says 14,000. I don't think that's actually quite right. I think I've actually sold more than that, and I think that's after they've taken their cut. I've got a feeling it's closer to 20 grand all up over the years, which is pretty good, And as you can see here, this is the breakdown. So we've got about 8 grand total from the Endless Worlds. And I think actually it has been more than that, because there was multiple pages of this where I had the same page set up for different links, because I renamed the URL and then couldn't be bothered going through YouTube to update all the URLs to direct to the same page. So it is a bit more than that. But yeah, it's nothing to like turn your nose up at. Is it enough to live off? For me, it is. For most people, it's probably not. If you subtract like the costs of rent and food and all of that, I don't have to pay rent where I live. I live with my family. I live in a caravan. So the rent cost is nothing for me, which allows me to spend all my time developing games and doing the work that I love, like putting these games up on Steam, and to have years and years at a time where I can work on these and develop my own skills and master my art basically without having to worry about constantly making money. Money is still tight for me, like given that the rent thing, which is obviously, it would be the biggest expense for me at the moment, given that that's taken out of the equation, all the money that I make from these streams basically goes towards food. I don't spend much money on anything else. Maybe a bit of fuel for driving around, and yeah, like I suppose maintaining cars and things like that. But yeah, like my biggest expense is food, and there's been times, this is one of the hard things about indie game development, I suppose you'd call it entrepreneurship, or being self-employed and being an artist, and all of that, is just how inconsistent it can be. And there's been months where yeah, it's been really fucking tight and I haven't had any money, and I've had to really like be frugal and get creative about where I'm going to source my food. And so I started gardening, like in the backyard. I started growing some food here as well, which helped out. I also did that for health reasons as well, because I started to feel like, this is a topic for another time, but I started to feel like just the price of like organically grown food around here was like so expensive, and so I started growing some of my own because I could mass produce like pumpkins and potatoes and things like that. And I would know that I was getting healthy food, and I wouldn't have to fucking pay myself into oblivion to just get food that wouldn't make me feel ill, because I've had some chronic illness that I've traced back to food. But yeah, man, like it can be tough. Like it can be tough having that uncertainty. It can be tough living so like frugally. But this is the path that I choose, and the perks that come with this, which I've talked about a lot on the channel, is yeah, like the freedom. It's the freedom to master my craft and to work on the stuff that I want to work on, to do the games that I want to make, and to have the freedom to pursue other things as well. It's like I wake up every day, I never have to set an alarm. I wake up at whatever time I want, I get as much sleep as I want, and then every day I have the choice of what I want to do with that day. I don't have to rush off to work, I don't have to rush off to school, I don't have to commute, I don't have to do anything that day if I don't want to. Like if I'm feeling tired, I can sleep. If I want to go to the gym, I can go to the gym. If I want to fucking spend 4 hours on a long ass walk, or if I want to drive to a different town or whatever, I can do that as long as I've got the money to do it. Which I don't always have the money to do the things that I want to do, but for the most part, man, like the stuff that I enjoy, like I don't actually, it doesn't actually cost anything. Like it doesn't cost me anything to go for a walk down in the bush. It doesn't cost me anything to go for a swim. It costs me $15 a week to have a membership at the gym, which is nothing. It costs me nothing to go to the skate park. I love going to the skate park. And I've got my internet connection. I've got my screens. I can make games whenever I want. I can browse YouTube, like all of that. So like it's a lifestyle that works for me. It's not for everybody. And I've had frustrations with a lifestyle like this because it obviously does limit me. Like if I want to say like have a family and have my own home somewhere in a better neighborhood or out of town, a place that I own myself, I'm obviously going to have to make more money. And so it is something that I think about a lot, and I'm trying to invest more time into that and get creative about how I can generate more money for myself. But it's a slow process, and it's slow because I want to do it in a way that is not going to be detrimental to my health. I have other things that I value, and making more money isn't necessarily going to be the thing that brings me more happiness. I know that just having more money at the cost of my health, or at the cost of like other things, like my freedom to pursue the things that I'm interested in, to learn the things that I'm interested about, it wouldn't make me a happier person. And so yeah, I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm learning as I go and experimenting. But yeah, so those are the numbers if you were curious. I'm just checking my notes down here. Oh yeah, so there have been other like I do take odd jobs occasionally, and I've had some opportunities over the years where that have been very very lucrative. But yeah, like I said, you sort of you sort of pick your battles when it comes to these things, and um, like I mentioned earlier, having more money isn't always necessarily a good thing because it never comes without strings attached. Um, I suppose it can if like I randomly have a bunch of like people buy shit on the store, but in terms of like if you're making a transaction like a lifestyle change to earn more money, it's like sure you get more money on the one hand, but then it's like there's always a sacrifice on the other side. And yeah, the delicate art of earning more money is to learn what it is that you're willing to sacrifice and what you're not willing to sacrifice. And that's something that everybody has to learn about themselves. It's something that I'm learning. I'm always learning, and yeah, I think that's it. So if this was helpful, let me know. Leave me a comment, and check out all the links and maybe check out the stores and stuff if you're interested in that. I'm going to be putting a lot more assets on the stores for indie developers. Things like my music manager here, for example. I'm going to be putting a lot more easy to use, sort of cheapish plugins up there. So that's it. See ya.